Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the 74th episode of Improving Chess. A very, very warm welcome to everyone and a big thanks to Keith Mascarenas. I just saw the live chat before going live and I saw that he's already sent two super chats over there. As I had mentioned, Keith, when we began this series, used to always send a super chat before we began, and it was very nice because then I would be like, oh, he sent a super chat, I must go live soon. And sometimes you feel like, oh, there are no comedians today who have they have not woken up. Or sometimes you feel like, is anyone going to come to learn today? And then you see the super chat and you're like, no, I'm sure people are interested to learn. And so so that's sometimes a very nice thing. So thank you so much, Keith, for doing this. And good morning to everyone here who's joined in. I want to start off today with a small video, if you guys don't mind, and also with a small story. So let me just share my screen with you so that you can see it. Mm, yeah, just a second. Something went wrong. Actually, we were recording something yesterday, which is why it's quite possible that something which is missing. Yeah, this should be good now. Okay, so the video which I wanted to show you is this one. Looks funny, but let's have a look at it. Okay, that was the video. Why am I showing this to you? Okay, I could very well show you something else. By the way, this is me, and this happened just day before yesterday on Sunday, when I spent a good part of my day cleaning the house. So what happened was, there's this place in our house which is meant for storage, which is this one. And because of rainfall and because of the COVID situation, we had no time to actually fix the water seepage. And so every time the water would seep in, so we removed all our luggage, we kept it somewhere, and now it's like this. So that day, I opened this, and we have this very super sort of cleaning broom, where whenever you put it in, it kind of absorbs the water. Now what I want to talk about is that when I was doing this, it was more like the water was filled till quite high. This video was shot when a lot of water was taken out. So what this sort of machine would do is, I would put it in, and then I would just remove it. It would absorb the water, and I would take out, you just pull this kind of a flap, and the water is put into the bucket. Once again dry, you put it in. Now there are two approaches when you are doing this. One approach is to constantly look into this sort of hole, that how much water is there, how much is, I'm taking out, and you're constantly tensed whether the water is coming out or not. The other approach is to actually try and see how many times do I have to sort of move the broom so that maximum water it takes. And then what is the most effective way? Do I have to do it 2 times? Do I have to do it once? Do I have to do it 3 times? And you kind of improve on your technique. And this is what I want to drive home the point, that anything that you do in life, you can either focus on the thing that you are doing or on the final result. Now, when you focus on the final result, it's always very stressful, because you are, this water which is inside is not in your hands. It's like when you're doing it, whether it's reduced or not, you don't know. And so you're always tensed. How much water is still left in there? Oh, it's not going down. What should I do? Am I doing it right or not? But you know that water is coming out, because every time you pull the flap, there's water going into the bucket. And so at that point, I think it's much better if you focus on the technique. The technique part means that you will be actually doing this, whether you are doing it the most effective manner, whether you're taking in proper, moving your hand properly, and all this will actually shift the focus from the result to the process. And you can apply it anywhere in your life and it will work. So this is my small analogy which I want to make. I guess it doesn't make sense for many, it makes sense for a few. So whoever whatever you take home from this, try it. But I want to then follow this up with a game of mine. So in 2009, I think, I was playing against let me see the chat. How to use the broom, yeah? Okay. And actually, okay, it's not just that I used it here, but I want to show you where. So this is one of the articles that I had written, my first win against a 2600 GM, and this is me. This is in 2009. I was rated 2270, I think, and this is my opponent Vladimir Belov, who is a very strong player. So what happened was I won, I think, the first 2 rounds, and in the third round I was paired against Vladimir Belov. In chess, you get the pairing 1 day in advance. So let's say the game ends at around 4 p.m. and the next game is in the morning at 9 a.m. So you get the pairing at around 5 p.m. And so I got the pairing that I'm playing against Vladimir Belov. I started to I open my laptop, and usually the way any professional chess player does is that he goes into players, and then on the mega database, and he writes here the name of his opponent. And if you're playing against a strong opponent, so like here you see Vladimir Belov, I have 1100 games. So whenever you are playing against a strong opponent, you search the games and then you say prepare against white or prepare against black. And here I started to check, and I saw that my opponent is one of the most strongest players in his, I wouldn't say Russia, but in his group he is played against a lot of strong players. If you look here, the list itself: Carlsen, Kramnik, Nepomniachtchi, Swidler, Yakovenko, Grishchuk, Elyanov, and he's also beaten Grishchuk. And I was just looking at this, and I was there 19 years old. I was looking at these things. Anshuman Bajaj from 3 episodes, thank you Anshuman for your super chat. Where is Samay and Biswa? Okay, first thing is Samay is, I think, sleeping. I think he's messed up with his sleep schedule because of Fall Guys, so he may join us tomorrow. Maybe he was perhaps going to join us today or yesterday as well, but I think he sleeps a little late. Jamil is in the chat. Hi Jamil, welcome. I think we'll make sure that Jamil, if you have certain games from, I think, Turkey qualified, yeah, if you have any game from this Olympiad which we can look at, would be very nice to have you in the chat, in the show. I'll send you the link. I wanted to just show this game. And about Biswa, he has told me that waking up at 8 is very difficult for him. So maybe to shift the class timings. I prefer to keep the class at 8 as I've mentioned, because I believe that all those who join in at 8 are really trying to improve at chess. And the third is Vaibhav, who is right now traveling from Kolkata to Mumbai. I think he's coming back to Mumbai. Maybe he will join us from tomorrow. Okay, fantastic. Jamil has a nice game. So, one second, let me just make sure. Jamil, I'll show this game of mine and then you can join in, or maybe you can even join in now as you please. Let me search Jamil. Okay, so I was preparing against Vladimir Belov, and I feel that chess improvement lessons should go on. Uh, if they are going to, I think they'll join in soon. But even if they don't come, I'm always hopeful that they will join. But even if they don't, I think we should learn. So I was preparing against this opponent, and I was constantly worried about one thing. He's played against so many strong players. He's beaten all of them. He's beaten many of them. And who am I? I'm just a 2200 player. I'm not even very strong in my country. How do I even stand a chance against him? And that's why I even named this article as David versus Goliath, because in my mind the picture was something like this. Bello was this big player and I was this small kid. And so uh, I got really tensed, but when I reached the board, I was in a mindset which was very similar to the process of what I just showed you, yeah, of the broom, where I'm trying to take out the water and I'm trying to just focus on what is in my control, which is to make good moves in the position. If I can make good moves in the position, that is more than enough. I don't need to think whether I can beat him or I cannot beat him. So with that in mind, let's have a look at this game between me and Vladimir Belov. Yep, Anshuman, I get it. Vaibhav as well. Okay, so let's take, and I was also black, yeah. So playing black against very strong players is never easy. So I went knight f6, knight f3, e6, c4, b6. I used to like to play the Queen's Indian. This is known as the Queen's Indian because in the King's Indian, you develop your bishop on g7, while in the Queen's Indian, you put your bishop on b7. Knight c3, bishop b7. So just when he was ready to play e4, I control it one more time. Rohan Khilnani, thank you Sagar for all these lessons. Really helped in igniting interest in chess for me. Thank you Rohan for your super chat and thank you for attending. So he played a3 and this is known as the Kasparov-Petrosian system. You kind of stop bishop b4 ideas and you are preparing to play queen c2 and maybe e4 at some point. Ayushi, getting that feeling of celebration and belongingness to something you worked hard for and later showing it off with stories or watching it with pride and memories. That post about receiving a trophy was spot on. Thoughtfulness OP. Uh, yeah, actually, I just feel like one Abhishek Deshpande. Thank you so much for your super chat. Ayushi, coming back, what I feel is that in general, whatever I have been able to achieve in chess or whatever I have done is something like, if you look at any chess player, any strong chess player, they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of chess acumen. You can also look at Vidit for that matter. I would even say Samay is very talented in that respect in chess. He just understands chess at a deeper level, although his performance is very erratic because, as I said, yeah, he's an entertainer always. So when I played chess, I just didn't have this acumen, and most of the things that I do, I'm not so good at it, but with time I just keep working hard and keep striving at it, and things happen. And I think my stories can inspire just about anyone, not because I'm successful, but because I've just kept kept at it. And this is the same with this series, yeah, learning chess. It's just improving chess, that we just keep going at it, and I'm sure that someone or the other is benefiting out of it. But thank you so much for writing this. D5 takes, knight takes, and he played the move E3. Now remember, this move is not very has been equalized already. The main move is queen c2. E3 is not such a good move. This has already been proven. Can you tell me what is the best move here for white? Sorry, for black. White has just played e3. What is the best move for black? Black to move. So how do you continue? Jamil is here. Hello, hi Jamil.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. Nice new view. Looking good.
Yeah, it's better now.
People
At
can
least
see
there's
you.
some light on my
Guys,
face.
this is Jamil. Look at him. Yeah, always we used to look at him at a distance, and we could never
Yes.
recognize him, but now we can.
Yeah, now the camera is so much closer. Yes.
Okay, Jamil, congratulations for Turkey making it to the top division of online Olympiad. And also, you
Yeah.
were playing Fall Guys with Samay, I think, all the time, and yet you didn't lose a single game, I believe.
Yeah, it was fun. Of course, Fall Guys is like you finish one game in like 1 minute or 2 minutes. So we just kept on playing and it's fun. The team didn't lose any games in the Olympiad. And I lost one game in the final round against Norway, but it just didn't impact our result. In fact, I overpushed a drawn rook end game just to win, but I lost it. It's fine.
Ah,
And
you lost
yeah,
one game.
but I won a nice game against Ivanisevic, which I will show probably.
Fantastic. So how
Yeah,
about first just finishing my game, and then we will go and
yeah,
check yours.
absolutely,
Can
absolutely.
I share my screen with you?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So here's the screen share. Okay. So, 95.
Yeah.
And here, what is the best move? I was asking the chat, and many of them mentioned that here knight d7 followed by c5 would be the best move to play. Also, some of you have mentioned bishop e7, bishop d6. Jamil, do you know this line?
No, actually, I'm not familiar with it. For my understanding, I would look at moves like c5, but I don't know the concrete reasons. So I'm not very theoretically equipped on this line.
Right. So, in a way, if you look at it, White's main aim in this opening is to play e4. So, Queen c2, when he plays, the main move is bishop e7, e4, knight takes, pawn takes, castles, bishop d3, and c5. And you get this kind of Grunfeld like structure, but the bishop is on e7 instead of g7. You didn't have time to get the bishop here because you already played e6 and white was very quick.
Mm.
When white actually plays the move e3, he's playing a slow game. He's not trying to go e4 directly because he will lose a pawn, and e3 is actually more positional. So what people realized is that in this position, if you play the move g6, it is kind of equalizing on the spot. And so here black went g6, and all those who found this move very good, because putting the bishop, and this I prepared before the game for my opponent. He went bishop b5 check, which is a fine move. You force c6 because knight d7 would run into certain difficulties with knight e5.
Yeah.
And so I played c6, bishop d3, and bishop g7. And here he castled, I castled, and he took on d5. And the question is, with which pawn do you recapture here? Or do you take with the queen?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It's kind of funny that I have to, Jamil is thinking here like he is a super strong player. But I think Jamil, it's okay, yeah, to test you or to ask
Yeah,
questions.
absolutely. Because the thing is, like, as an exchange, like as a Slav player, I should say, I'm very tempted to go like c takes d5 because of my habit of playing the structure and actually having no problems. But also, you can take with the e pawn and try to go like c5, c4, and maybe try to go b5, a5 in the future, and try to play on the queen side. So that's why it's like definitely a decision to take. And I think I will eventually go e takes, but I don't see why should c takes be bad, like knight c6 and then try to go e5.
Yeah.
I feel like both are interesting in
Both are
their own
interesting.
ways.
Absolutely. For example, in this position, usually the way white plays is they go bishop d3, bishop g7, castles, castles, and after knight into d5, you take with the e pawn, and then he goes b4, and here white is threatening at some point to play b5, like maybe bishop b2 b5 and try to clamp this structure, and so black usually goes c6 in such positions.
Mhm.
So the fact that he actually forced me by giving a check to play c6, then coming back and then taking on d5 means that I have actually gained a move in this process.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
I decided to make use of it, and I took with the e pawn. But as you rightly point out, even cd is not a bad move. It's just that I feel that this bishop in this structure may be slightly misplaced. If it was on e7,
Mhm.
maybe I would be very happy. Also, this bishop is not so great, but maybe he'll play.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it should be around equal, maybe a very slight edge for white. So I took with
Sure.
the ed. Ayushi says, my super chat was sending the trophy of Chess 960 event to Girish, ChessBase on Insta today. Okay.
Yeah. Saw that picture too. Very nice.
The post about receiving a trophy was spot on. Yeah, exactly. I think I just want to show the people
Yeah.
this post. Well, it's like, one of the things that happens with chess players is that they play a tournament, and I think when they win a trophy, it's a very, very big, nice feeling. I think, Jamil, you would also agree with this. Yeah, the trophy is not just a piece of metalware, but it's like a memory of your tournament.
Absolutely. In fact, I used exactly the same sentence after my first European champion title. They
Ah,
asked us how it feels like, and I was like, it does look like a metal, but it has like its own memory in the press conference. Because after I won and came back to Turkey, they arranged like some sort of a press conference because I was like the first one in the nation to win one
yeah,
European title as a male player, not as a
amazing.
female, like not in general, because there was already winners in the female section. But yeah, so I used exactly the same sentence.
Amazing, amazing. So basically, this trophy, every trophy that you see behind Girish Kaushik, he's the Grandmaster of India, and he won an online tournament. So we sent him this trophy here. Buddhibal Krida Trust actually also sent this, and he got this trophy. And in this online times, when you're playing online tournaments, this trophy often you cannot win because it's all online. And so this was sent, and every trophy encapsulates within it memories of your hard work, what happens. And so in our house as well, we have kept a showcase with all the trophies of Amruta and me. It's just a
Mm.
nice feeling. It's not just something that's lying there. Um, okay, back to the game. Murli Funny says, "Congrats on 200 million views." Really? What is that? I don't know. What is 200 million? Is it like our YouTube channel reached 200 million views?
Total views, probably. Yeah.
I think the way you see it is from here. About. Ah, look at this one. Okay, 200 million views. That is, I am very bad at math. So I know that 2 million is 20 lakh, 20 million is 2 crores, 200 million is 20 crores. Okay, 20 crore views. Nice. 200 million. I don't know, just to put
Wow.
things into perspective, Agad Matter, which is the most famous channel, has 300 million views.
Close.
Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Maybe views wise, I think ChessBase India is one of the most popular videos channels, because we have the two most popular videos in the world, which is Prag playing against Anand, Prag playing against Ganguly. Both have 30 million plus views. Okay, thank you Murli Funny for showing this. I was not aware of it. Okay, b4, and here I played the move a5, which is striking the center, striking at this queen side pawns. He went bishop b2, knight d7.
Mm.
He played queen c2, queen e7, attacking b4. He played bishop c3, and I took. And of course, if he takes on b4 with the bishop, I have c5, so no problems there. He took with the pawn, and now I did something interesting. So let's try to think, what would you play here? Black to play, and it looks like black is slightly passive. His pieces are not so great. This bishop is hemmed in. So I actually, throughout the game, my mindset was about this broom cleaning. Yeah. It was not like I want to beat him, I want to win this game. It was more like, how can I improve my position bit by bit? How can I make my pieces better? So that was the only thing that was on my mind. Sumedh, nice move. Yeah. So the first thing that came to my mind was like, I'll take this guy. Then I thought he will take. Then I thought I'll contest the a file. He'll take, and then he plays queen a4 or queen a2, and he gets the a file.
Yeah.
And this is not a good thing, because he will come in with his queen. He'll start harassing my position. So I decided that it's better if I can try and control this square with my queen. I don't know it. I played here rook f c8, and the point
Yeah.
is to put my queen back on f8, then take, then play rook a8, then bring my queen back to a8. So it was kind of a solid way to play. Queen b2, queen f8, following the plan. Knight d2. Now I took rook a8, and he played rook c1, which was kind of funny move. He wanted to play for a win, basically. So that is the reason why he decided to not exchange the rooks, but that gave me the control of the a file. So I tried to double on the a file, come in here and tried to attack. He played bishop c2. I went rook a7. Now the advantage is I want to go queen a8. He played bishop b1, and I put my queen on a8. And now comes, I think, a very important moment in the game. So guys, all of you, black to play, and what would you play here? In all the positions, guys, I do have the possibility of b5, knight b6, knight c4, But usually in such positions after b5, white goes e4, and then this bishop remains closed. So that's the reason why I don't want to play b5 instantly. Let's see if anyone. I think this is just my following the concept of improving your pieces. Mehmet Fatih Aydin, if you play rook a1, then just queen into a1. Yeah, that would be a free rook.
Yeah, I actually wanted to play it, but then I'm like, yeah, thanks, though.
Nilay Kulkarni, that's a good move. Very good. Yes, Ilam Parthi. I think I had shown this once very long ago.
Hmm.
What would you play, Jamil?
So I'm thinking that I have to improve my light squared bishop and my knight on d7.
Mm.
And so my candidate moves were like knight f6 with the idea of trying to go knight d8, knight d6. At least that's the way I'm thinking right now.
Okay.
So that was one idea. The other idea I was somehow thinking was maybe to put the bishop on b5. It looks a bit awkward, but I'm not sure why I felt like doing this.
Uh,
Maybe to stop my opponent from playing b5, I guess. But I don't know. It's just intuition. It might be completely wrong.
I played this and
Not
I
thinking
like
things.
this move very much because my bishop is doing nothing here,
Yeah.
and you put it on b5 and you don't really ask yourself what's happening in general, like what it's just like if your piece was worse, if you improve it, nothing else is happening,
Yeah.
and if you make it better, I think it'll be very useful for you in general. So this bishop is very strong. By the way, all of this what I'm saying is directed to the viewers, not to Jamil. I know he understands all of this very quickly, so I don't need to explain these concepts to him. But bishop
Yeah.
b5 is a very active piece. So if
Also, I'm very happy to find such moves because it used to be very hard for me. But lately, I've been trying to work on understanding positional chess better. So I see that the results are coming in some way.
fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so he played e4, and I decided to keep control, which was by playing my knight to f6. If he now takes,
Yeah.
I'll take back with the knight, and I have a very nice pieces. Look at all of them working together. Even the bishop now stands active. So he decided to play e5, and I jumped with knight to h5. I want to go knight f4 and play to e6. So he played g3. Now once again, what do you do here? Yes, Evgeny Slutsker says very well, improve your worst piece. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm immediately looking for tactics. That
Knight into
animation already.
g3. Knight into g3 is Jamil's
No.
first idea. Queen c8, attacking h3 pawn. All
Yeah,
these moves
similar.
first come to his mind. It's just the way he's built. Yeah, he's built to look for tactics.
No, I mean the first move I looked was bishop h6. Actually, I just tried to pin the knight and bring the knight from g7.
Man,
Yeah, okay.
you are getting all these moves very quickly. So first improve the bishop here. Now improve the bishop here.
Yeah,
He can't go f.
that's actually very rare, right?
Yeah,
Like we
exactly.
put the bishops from like yeah, it's interesting.
And you can't play f4 because oh sorry because g3 would hang. So he went rook e1. So I jumped in with my rook,
Uh,
queen b1, and now I think it's time for what would you do here? I think this is the moment where I went slightly wrong in the game.
yeah, I guess maybe because there are so many tempting options, it's very likely to go wrong.
So you see all your pieces are nicely posted, and it's always a case between whether you should further your agenda in a position or you should try and sort of stop your opponent's plan. So in this position, try to think what your opponent wants to do and then whether you should stop it or not. Sukrut, I think the move which you suggest was also played by me in the game. Keith says bishop d2, bishop d2, rook a1. But Keith, after rook a1, isn't queen into a1 losing a rook? Because queen into a1, rook into a1, and then you will lose a rook there. Ilam Parthi, when you go queen a3, he will go knight b3. That is the point.
Yeah, and then he has ideas like e6.
Ayushi has a question. Before computers, how were players able to practice, improve, analyze, and assess their games? Uh, Ayushi, that was an era that was known as the beautiful era of chess for many people. When you basically learn chess from books, to get information in chess, like what is good or not, was so difficult that if someone told you a trap or an opening idea, you would like revere him or make him your friend for the rest of your life. That was the thing, and that's what Praveen Tipseji had said that day when he came on the show. That at that point, books were so rare that in order to get the books, you had to make a deal with a like a bookseller. You have to go to him and say, "Can you please stock this book? I will bring the money," and then you save all from whatever you are earning, and then pay like 100 rupees, which was a lot back then, to get those books. So it was really not easy back then to get chess information, but also made chess very, very beautiful. No one could say that they knew. Like in this position, if a grandmaster said the best move is bishop into d2, everyone would be like, yes, yes, you are right. But now it's like bishop into d2. Let me just start the engine. What is Stockfish saying? Stockfish says bishop into d2 is a bad move. No, you're not a very strong player. And this entire confidence of people, because of the engines, was not back then, and so grandmasters were considered as gods at that point.
Yep.
I don't know if this change is good, Jamil. I think it's mainly like it's just a development, and you can't say whether it's good or bad. You just have to accept it and move on.
Yes, exactly. I mean, all eras have their own special times, you know. So this is our era, and we cannot really change it.
Yeah, you have
So
to.
we
If
have to enjoy.
either you change it or you embrace
We have
it.
to accept it.
Yeah, you and that's what
Exactly.
Vishy has done. I would say he was from an era where there were no computers. He was working with the first floppy disks, and then he was like, uh, computers are now completely in there, and he uses them the best in the world. So that's how he stayed at the
Yep.
top always, by adapting, by not saying, "Oh, I loved the era when there were no computers." You don't complain. Tirthankar Saika says, I went from 600 to 1000 thanks to you, Sagar sir. I promise I'll improve more. Thank you, Tirthankar. And I hope that you will reach 1500 very soon. Voicebox Entertainment. I defeated a GM yesterday. He was playing consecutively 3 matches and forgot about mine, and his time ran out. That's going on my resume. Defeated a... Oh, Voicebox. Congratulations. Who was your opponent? Could you tell the name?
It was not me. It was not me.
It was not Jamil.
Don't put me under the bus all the time.
No, but this is amazing. Okay, so knight g7 is the correct move, stopping e6, because my opponent has a simple plan. If it was his move, he would play here e6. If f e6, then he would take on g6 and get his queen in, attack with his rook. These two pieces are hanging, and so in the game I stopped it. I first played queen a3. He went knight b3. He should have gone e6, by the way. I should have actually stopped his counterplay with the move knight g7. and then I would have been in control. Next move, go in, play bishop c4. I'm just pressing in the position. Okay, so
Yeah.
queen a3, he went knight b3. I played bishop c4, and now he was there with this move e6, and I panicked like anything in this position. Like I'm playing a very strong player. I just couldn't understand what to do, because if I take now, maybe it would be much different if I'm playing, because now I'm much more what to do. Okay, calculate. This is a mate here. Let's bring back the queen. Oh, he takes here, I'll take this, he takes this. I would calculate these things and be calm and then come to a conclusion. But back then I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Heart is beating, you don't know what to do. And so I went knight g7, he played e7, I went knight e8, and I think black is still okay. He has managed to stop this pawn from queening. And now he played bishop d2, which was a blunder. I don't know what happened. He just played this move. So it's your move now. Black to move. What do you play? Voice box. You don't need to super chat. He says Gevorg Harutunyan. He was actually really sweet and taught us a few things. Poor lad thought he had pre-moved, and I smartly kept quiet. Yeah, Gevorg Harutunyan is an Armenian GM, if I'm not wrong, and a very very nice, very good player. So congratulations, voice box. Definitely going on your resume. Absolutely, guys. I just win a piece here with bishop into b3. The thing is, he was expecting bishop into
Did he blunder
yeah, he
this,
just blundered it.
Oh.
And he would be fine here. But I just took the other piece, because now if you take with the queen, I can take, and take on d2, and I'm a piece up. And if you take with the bishop, then I take rook into d2, and again I'm a piece up. So he just blundered this, and then he took on g6, which made, he just took it, I took back, he took here, and now I was very quick, very smart to exchange the queens. Bishop c2, the queen has no space to go anywhere, and so he had to play, and I'm just a piece up. So the next moves were pretty easy. Bishop d3, bishop e3, f6, and king f7, and he resigned here because this pawn is falling, this pawn is falling. Everything is hanging. I'm a piece up, and he resigned. And it may not be a big game for very strong players, but for me it changed my perception towards things. It just made me believe that in order to be a good chess player, or to win a game, you don't need to be a better player than your opponent in general. You just need to be better than him on that day, and you just need to play the best you can. And once that was clear, I think you just fight every day of your life, as a player, and give it your all. Jamil, tell me one
That's
thing.
correct.
How did you like the broom analogy at the start of the session? Did you like it?
I actually missed half of the analogy. So when I tuned in, I just saw the, like, you put the broom in and then the broom, like the water was going down, but I missed it. So I will be happy to hear it quickly if you can.
Right
I
now?
saw the video.
Right now? Yeah, you can check it out
I saw the
after
video.
the session. Yeah, that
Okay.
would be, because there were
Okay.
certain people who are like, that was the funniest analogy we have seen. But I want to know your opinion, so
Yeah.
you can check it. But let's look at your
No,
game.
but like the thing is, you can learn from many different things in life. So I think it's very nice that you're learning from anything.
Yeah, that's my
So, yeah,
approach. I think
it's nice.
in
Okay,
general,
my game, yeah, sure.
just to add on this, in general, if I can learn something, then I'm ready to do it. For example, whenever I do commentary for Samay's games, I'm learning something from his games and I'm enjoying myself, so I'm happy to do it. Even for that day with its games, when I was commentating, it was great fun because I was learning something. So the same thing, and right now with Chemil, I'll learn something, and I guess you guys will as well. So let's begin.
Yeah, hopefully. And I think actually you will be surprised on how the game was played. I mean, I think you'll be surprised. So
Positional
we'll see.
chess coming in.
I mean, somewhat, yeah.
Were you white?
I was playing white, yeah.
Okay, that's fun.
I tried to play position. So I knew I was playing Ivanisevic, and I know he plays the Philidor a lot. And yeah, I was in some doubt on what to play, so I decided not to go for Philidor. It's not that I don't know anything; it's just that I didn't want to go in a theoretical debate. So I played d4.
Oh, d4. Your main move is e4, right?
Well, I have lately switched to d4, but so I play all of them. I don't really have like a main weapon at this point, because you will see why. Knight f6 he played, and I played bishop f4.
Ooh, London system.
Yeah, because I beat like Inarkiev with bishop f4, I beat Zubov with bishop f4, so and all these classical games. And even I played this against Nihal back in the day. So bishop f4 is like my go-to move when I don't know what to play.
Fantastic. And
He goes
also a lot of
d6.
people in the chat like the London, so it'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. He actually played d6.
Ah,
I would be so happy if he would play e6, but I knew he would go d6. It was easy for me to guess. I played knight c3, trying to go e4, and he played knight bd7 as expected, trying to get the Philidor. And I started at this moment, it was that I regretted that I didn't go e4, because he already got his Philidor anyways, and my bishop on f4 is kind of awkward. But okay, I played knight f3. I tried to kind of stick to the plan,
yeah.
and he played the move c5. And yeah, so here I had a choice, which I'm not sure I took the best choice. Probably the move d5 is the best move, in my opinion. But for some reason in the game I played e3, and I don't know much, because there is really no theoretical debate in this, like nothing to hide. It's not like a sharp line. I obviously try to avoid theory in some fashion.
Yeah.
So
I would have
he
preferred
plays,
d5 in general with e4 next, so that would
yeah,
have been like Schmid Benoni. But
yeah,
e3 is okay. What you did seems natural. By the way, guys, this is Jamil's game from day before yesterday, I think, where
it was Sunday, yeah.
it was Sunday, and he was playing against Serbia, right?
Correct, yeah.
And it's the online Olympiad, and if his team wins, they qualify to the top division, which they have. But this game was important. So, and your opponent's rating is 2600 plus.
Yeah, so his current FIDE rating is 2602, but his peak was 2665.
Okay.
And 4 years ago.
Very strong player.
So
Okay.
that's, yeah, very strong.
So
So after
e3.
e3, he played a6, and I played, of course, a4.
Yeah, usually when your opponent is planning to play b5, you play a4 and nip it into the bud. Yeah.
Yeah. So he played b6, which I don't know. I was a bit surprised, I should say. I mean, maybe I didn't understand it, but I played bishop e2, bishop b7, castles, and he played g6. Okay, now I had to come up with some plan, and maybe we can ask the audience. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I don't even know if the move I played is correct. It's just about how would you proceed is the question.
Yeah, how to play as white?
So
I would say that Jamil would have seen that the king is still in the center, would take another move to castle. Can you open it somehow? Can you open up the position? Can you attack? Maybe he didn't find a way because his pieces are
yeah,
not
I didn't.
are not so ideally placed for an attack. And so
Yeah.
how do you
So I
continue?
went for the structure we discussed earlier, actually. Although I have lost a couple of moves, I kind of feel like at least I somehow provoked him to put his bishop on b7. So I played the move d5. I mean, if I would have done it earlier, maybe he would not have played b6, bishop b7. So I kind of thought this was somehow an achievement for me, closing down the bishop on b7. And after bishop g7, I played e4. So
Okay.
now I actually got the center.
Just to make things clear,
Yeah.
if in this position Jamil would have gone d5, g6, e4, bishop g7. The bishop is still on c8 and it's much better placed on this diagonal. So, although he spent one move by playing e3 and later playing e4 and not in one go, he believes that his opponent's bishop being committed to b7 actually helps him. Makes
Yeah, of
sense.
course, this is a tough decision to make, right? But I mean, it kind of looked like the bishop is shut down on this diagonal, and it does feel like it. So I wasn't 100% sure if this is the right way, but it's a rapid game, so it's not like I had too much time to evaluate everything.
Yeah, it was
So he
15
castled.
minutes plus 5 second increment.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so e4 he castled.
yeah. And here I had a decision to take. I had two more candidate moves. I eventually played one, but it's interesting to see other perspectives too. Like I was leaning towards one a lot, but then I played the other one.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what are the candidate moves? Like if I'm thinking, Jamil, let's say this is a training session for
Yeah.
me, okay, and if I am thinking here, I would think of the moves queen d2 connecting the rooks, because that is one way to finish your development. Also, I at some point I can go bishop h6, try to exchange the bishops. The other move which comes to my mind is rook e1, because later I can move this bishop back to f1 or c4 and try for e5 breakthrough. And I think one more
Hmm.
move which could be nice is h3, just to tuck the bishop back at some point if it is attacked with knight h5. Maybe it's a little too slow, but I don't know if it's good or not. So these are the three moves that would come to my mind. Not sure about knight d2, knight c4 is another plan, but doesn't look so
Yeah.
great.
So that was my three moves were queen d2, knight d2, and rook e1. I didn't really consider h3, although h3 is one of the main ideas, of course, in the London and all these systems to put the h2, to put the bishop on h2. It's just that I thought the moves queen d2 and knight d2 both prevent knight h5, and maybe rook e1 doesn't really do that, but yeah, I didn't really go for rook e1. I really wanted to make sure my bishop is safe, so I played queen d2. But the reasoning, as you said, is maybe to go bishop h6 at some point, trade these dark squared bishops, because it's like the best
Jamil
bishop
always
for
looks
the
at
black.
the as at the black king.
Yeah,
So,
always the king, but also I want to trade the bishop.
yeah.
So that's the idea. He
Okay.
plays knight e5,
Oh,
which
95.
actually slightly surprised me,
Ah, nice.
but
Not a mouse slip.
yeah, not a mouse slip because it's tactically justified. The thing about Ivanishevich is he's very strong tactically, and definitely great player in tactics. So he always would find these types of resources.
I remember
And of course, I have a choice.
Ivanisevic likes to play the Benko gambit, if I'm not wrong. He's a big
Most
expert.
likely.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, definitely. I am not sure, but I'm glad that I didn't push c4 on the second move then. If that's the case, because
Yeah.
I don't want to get myself into theory.
So the question is, you can't. The point is, you can't take here, and bishop e5,
Yeah,
because of knight
because of
e4
knight.
attacks the queen,
Mhm.
and once you take it he takes back, and this is a very good position for black. He has the bishop pair, and he's recovered his pawn.
Yeah, I mean, the game can go on after with c4, for example, at the end, but this gives away the d4 square. The reason I say c4 because his b2 is hanging and d5 is hanging, so it's a way
Yeah,
to defend both.
so c4
But
defends both these pawns, but in a way it weakens the
it
d4
weakens
square.
the d4 square. So I mean, it's still playable, of course, but I didn't like it, of course, to give up my dark squared bishop in such way. And I did think about knight e5, d5, bishop h6. Probably that was like the best way of playing it. But in the long run, I was thinking that the black knight come to d6, and then maybe he can try to go bishop c8, bishop d7, try to prepare b5. So yeah, I was like maybe floating around with too much dreaming, but I didn't want to give him this square. So instead of taking on e5, I played bishop h6
Okay.
directly, just to support my idea. He took on f3 and played after bishop takes queen c7. Yeah, so here I just took on g7 because I was not happy with the tension for some reason.
Hmm.
And now, actually, some interesting decision I took. Definitely not the best move, but I thought it was still interesting from like a practical point of view. What would you play with white? And
Okay.
this idea came to my mind from a different opening, so
Very
somehow
interesting.
arose to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here, white to move. What are your candidate moves? First, remember always to think of candidate moves. I'm going to also think that way. But first, I want to take one point, which is Ayushi says, I have a potential eye surgery coming up and won't be able to see screens for a long time, even reading for some time. I wish to keep studying chess. What options do I have? I'm not good at blindfold. I think since long time I have been keen on doing a series on blindfold chess, how to get better at it. Maybe it's a good time to do that. Also, Amruta is one of I would say the experts at this. And we had one blindfold camp in general that we held somewhere at some point where all the kids there were taught how to see blindfolded, no chessboards, no screens, nothing, just think in your head. I think it would be a good series to work on. So, Ayushi, maybe that's what we would do. Okay, so my suggestions here for candidate moves are first move which comes to mind, Jamil, is h4. And the point
Okay.
is, one is I want to go h5 if I get a chance and push my pawn all the way to h6. The other one is to
Yeah.
maybe just improve with g3, king g2, or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Apart from that, let's see. Can we go g3, bishop g2, f4, e5? That's another thing that could be on the cards. Like once you get your rook here, so then
Mhm.
everything is like centered to like going towards the center.
Yeah.
What else? What else makes sense? Moving the knight from d1 to e3 doesn't seem right. The knight just, or maybe to c4. I mean, the knight is always ideal on c4. It promotes e5. It's well placed. It's
Correct.
attacking
Yeah.
b6, but it always allows black to break with b5.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
Yeah. I'm actually surprised because I mean I thought about these ideas, but I didn't play any of them. I mean, actually, I'm gonna see how fast I made the move. I played the next move in 3 seconds. That explains. Uh, I didn't
Three
take too much time.
seconds.
Here I played the move. Yeah, I didn't even think at all. Because it's a tough position, as you said. All the ideas you mentioned are pretty interesting. But I was really thinking about the move f4 a lot because the f4 pawn and then e5 break, I had it in my mind. And of course, I wanted to play like rook e1 and support it. It's just that my
This
bishop
rook,
was
yeah?
on the way. So I couldn't decide. Yeah, the rook on a1. I couldn't decide where the light squared bishop should belong to. Should it be on this diagonal it's still on, like h1, a8 diagonal, or some other place? And I played bishop e2 here.
Hmm.
And it looks awkward, but I guess it will make sense after one more move, maybe.
Don't tell me you played
And
g4,
he,
g5.
no, no, I
That
played
would be
bishop
too
e2.
much. Bishop e2. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He played e6, and I put my bishop on c4. And this is not an idea I came up with during the game, of course. I can even tell you where it came from.
Okay.
If we go back to the starting position, and this is exactly how I thought about during the game.
Hmm.
So let's go with the classical Pirt's defense: e4, d6, d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6, f4, bishop g7, knight f3, castles, bishop d3, c5, d5. I think the move is knight a6 here. Castles, bishop g4. And the main move in this position is, for people who might not know, I think is bishop c4, which is already awkward enough, right? You put the bishop on d3, and a few moves later, you put the bishop on c4. And the idea is, I mean, it stops some knight b4 at some position. Like, for example, if we would go h3, maybe he was going to take on f3 and play knight b4, for example,
Hmm.
if the bishop was on d3.
Ah,
So
okay.
maybe this is preventing that
So
and
this
stuff like this in the previous.
take and knight b4, and you can't
Yeah,
move
I'm
this
not like a
bishop
super
because
theoretician, but this is annoying. Yeah. So and I know that the bishop on c4 is the main like place for it, and the theory goes like knight c7, white goes h3, black takes on f3, white takes back, black goes a6, um, white goes a4, black goes b6, and you get a position like this. And I just close my eyes for a second, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty much the same thing. It's just the bishops are out of the board, and the knight on c7 is changed with the bishop on b7, which is better for me because that bishop is pretty much not doing anything. So that's what I visualized. That's why I played this. It's not like I was thinking over the board something. I just recognized the similar position. That's why I played it. Good or bad, I had to manage my time well because we had similar time situation, and I don't like being down on time. So I played something which I thought intuitively is not bad and it's playable.
John Wong says Karpov once played bishop c3, queen d3, and planned e5. I think, yeah, Karpov used to play perhaps this way. And also,
Hmm.
this is a very good way that you learned right now how a grandmaster thinks, or how strong chess players think. They
Hmm.
have patterns in their head, and they use it at the right time. And this is something which all of you also can learn from these examples, that whenever you learn a pattern, put it in your head, and it can come to use at just about any occasion. So the opening was completely different, but still it was,
Yeah.
uh,
Yes. It was not even a close opening, but
yeah.
we somehow managed to get it to that structure.
Yes.
Yeah, so he played rook a8, and yeah, here I had multiple choices actually, but I took one which is normal, but also important. I thought.
Okay, so white to move.
Yeah, and I
uh
was kind of proud when I played this move, although it looks so simple.
okay,
For me, it was a proud moment.
so let's think. So basically, black would be trying to take here. So the moves
Hmm.
that do come to mind are rook a d1, trying to put pressure here. The other move could be d into e6, f into e6, and then if I could somehow get rook a d1 to put pressure here on d6, knight into e4, knight into e4, bishop into e4, queen into d6, queen into d6, rook into d6. Maybe this
Yeah,
is one possible
that
idea.
sounded better. Yeah,
And one more plan is e5, d5, d6, but doesn't seem to work here because after queen c6,
yeah,
there's this mating idea. So how is
yeah.
this plan to take rook a d1, because you can't
Yeah,
defend
that's what I
this.
was actually calculating about because I'm not sure why I didn't play this. I think in this position I saw a move like rook d8 and got a bit not happy
Which
about
one?
it. I thought rook d8.
Ah, but then
Yeah,
can
rook
you
d8.
not take this?
Then, then he takes back on e4.
But I guess this looks
And
better, yeah, for white.
yeah, this is definitely better for white. It's just that maybe I didn't like it too much.
Hmm.
But probably this is the best way of playing it. I didn't go for this honestly, but yeah, I'm not sure. I think I wanted to keep the structure fixed. That's why I didn't take on um, e6.
Okay.
I kind of felt like it's a bit too much, but yeah, it's correct move, of course. I played rook a d1, and the reason I played rook a d1 was that after he takes on d5, here I played like the move which made me proud. I took with the bishop, which is the most, which is not the classical way of taking. That's why I was proud of rook d1, not because of the move, but the move coming afterwards. Because after bishop takes, the difference between bishop takes and knight takes is that if I would take with the knight first, he takes with the bishop, and after I take back with the bishop on d5, he is not forced to take because chess is not like checkers, as you say. He's not forced to take on d5. That's the position I want to achieve, but it's not. It's about the move order where I got it, get it. Because now, if he takes, yes, this is the position which we want to get to. But of course, he's not forced. He can just play some other random move, like now he can even take actually in that position.
So
And
here
I
it's
was like, yeah, he's a good player. Yeah, knight e4
uh,
after bishop
so
d5.
here takes and knight e4, bishop e4, rook e4, queen
So knight
d6.
takes, bishop takes. Yeah, here
Sorry
exactly.
for that. I think we are back. Should be good. Sorry for the small lag.
Okay,
Yeah. So
no worries. Is it back?
yeah, we are back.
Yeah. So okay. So after takes, he took and he played rook e7, which is decent. And the idea is, of course, if I take on b7 and take on d6, that e4 is hanging, and nothing really works to my favor
Hmm.
after rook takes. So that's why after he played rook e7, I was like, yeah, I probably should strengthen my center, and I played f3. And because I'm defending the e4 pawn, maybe it's not necessary, but I was at least trying to make quick moves. And
It
he
looks
played
good.
rook d8, and here I played the move queen f4, which of course is having a lot of tricks in mind. Like I was just thinking of this scenario where I could go queen takes f6 at some position, and then go knight d5 and fork the queen and win the queen. And of course, I was struck with this idea so much that it just occupied the space in my brain, and I
Hmm.
was always thinking about it, but it never happened, of course. So he played bishop c8, and I played bishop c4. I mean, it's funny that I even played such a move. And he played rook e5.
Well, the idea is very simple. If you play something like, let's say, h5, then he takes knight d5 with a
Yeah,
fork, which would be horrible. So
but he also, like, he takes with the rook, so it's not even that bad, you know. Like, it's just the rook is even defending the queen. So he played rook e5
right,
anyways. I played
right.
rook d2. I'm trying to gang up on this d6 pawn by bringing my rook. He played queen e7. I played rook d1, bringing in a new piece. He played bishop b7. And here already we were like slightly low on time. And I was just having some ghosts of like my opponent playing d5 and opening the e file and stuff. So instead of allowing any counterplay, I put my bishop back on d5. Of course, it's not like a great decision, but it's a decision which is like keeping everything together and not allowing any counterplay.
I think
And here he
overall,
played
what
actually the
Jamil you are afraid of is that knight d5 he always takes with the bishop, and then he doesn't
right.
take this guy, because if he
Yeah.
takes and you take back, I think this is a weakness. You will constantly attack. It's a one-sided position here. So
Yeah.
what was
Absolutely.
the worry was
Absolutely.
he won't take this and his knight is well placed. The bishop is not so good here because yes, it attacks this weakness, but it can't do much. So that's the reason why he really wants that black should take either knight d5 or bishop d5, get his bishop off the
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, here's a question for the players. I mean, from the black side. What would you do with black? Because I think he found an amazing way of, like, found an amazing resource, which I completely overlooked. And he simplified the position so well and equalized, I should say. I mean, bishop d5 was a bad move. Like,
Hmm.
it's in fact it was a move from panic from my end. Like, I got this positional advantage, which is clear, but I still couldn't like finish him off. Like maybe it's because we have less than 4 minutes on the clock, and it's tough to be very
Yeah.
clear in these types of positions. But this was in fact a mistake. And let's see if somebody can spot the line he played.
G5 Nilay, but then you just lose the pawn. Oh, sorry, no, G5. Oh, sorry. It's possible, yeah. G5.
No, it
What do
is
you?
possible, but it's weakening f5 square too
Yeah,
much.
just Queen G3. I
Yeah.
I have a feeling, Jamil, here usually when a piece is kind of overloaded with one square, it can't do two duties, and therefore I'm just thinking of B5, whether it works or not. Because
b5, but I'll take on b7 and rook d6, so it will not work.
takes.
That's my threat, by the way.
Ah, you want to take and take here. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Of course, I have a threat, but it's just a very weak threat, so it's easy to
Everyone
get rid
says
of.
knight h5 here.
Knight h5, I just move the queen, I think. Actually, I'm very happy to see knight h5 because then you can never take my knight or whatever is going to land on d5. So I'll just go back and it's fine. No, he actually forced the matters, and when you're defending, generally it's a good thing to force the matters to like towards equality or draw, because if you can calculate it, of course. If you have a guaranteed draw, why would you not do it if you're defending? So he took on d5 with everything. So first with bishop, and then with the knight, and then with the rook.
And you really want to take with your rook here, because if you take with the pawn, then first of all,
Even
this
black is
weakness
better.
is
So
gone, and the queen is
yeah.
in the open file. So you take with the rook.
And here f5. So he found a
Oh,
dynamic solution to the problems
wow.
by striking my center. Because if he allows this structure, the backward pawn on d6 is going to be a weakness forever. I was planning to go like queen d2 and try to go like e5 at the right moment. This is pain because that pawn is isolated and it's backward. No one can ever support it. And f5 actually came just in time for him.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It now if you take, it's mate in one, guys. So
right, that's the
you
problem.
can
That's the
take.
big problem.
Very nice play by
And
Ivanisevic.
yeah, here I kind of panicked. I played h3, which is of course soft move. I mean, maybe I should have played h4 or something, but I was very tempted to go h4. But I saw the move. If he takes on e4 after h4, and after fe, there is queen f6, and I suddenly have to also take care of my pawn on h4, and I was not happy with this. Like, if I over push it way too much, I might regret not simply like not playing for a slightly better guaranteed position.
Hmm.
So I didn't want to go crazy. I played h3, and he he played f takes e4, f takes e4, queen f6 anyways. And okay, now the positional play of the game has ended, I think. I kind of slipped all my advantages. And now it's time to play some dynamic chess. But of course, d6 is still a weakness and so on. All of that exists. But how do we play?
Because also
Especially
your
with three
pawn
minutes.
is hanging here.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I had to think for about a minute to take a sound decision and
I know what
try
you
to
would have
continue
done.
for. Yeah,
You played queen d2, he took on b2, and you
absolutely. Yeah,
played e5.
yeah,
That's Jamil.
yeah,
I
exactly.
think when I'll play Jamil next, I'll know exactly his moves, but I won't know how to counter them. So queen d2
Yeah, actually,
takes.
probably my opponent felt the same way at this point. Because here, I knew the move he was going to play, and it's actually like worse for black. He played the move queen b4, which is very natural, but it's bad move as far as I remember. Yeah, queen b4 is actually pretty bad, and soon he just started to play even worse. And
Let's
why
not
is this
exchange the
move
queens.
bad?
Let's play c3.
Yeah, so c3 I
Oh,
wanted to play, but I needed to be a bit more active, I
yeah.
think.
Let's
That's why I didn't play.
let's go queen g5.
Exactly. I went forward. At this point, I just started to go forward. And here he played rook f8, and I took on d6 with the rook. I took.
Ah, you took with the rook. Okay.
Yeah. So here was a nice line I saw. Actually, I'll ask this to the chat. What happens if black plays the sequence queen e1 check, king h2, and rook f1, threatening mate? Because you cannot really roam around with your pieces and get checkmated. And this is something you always have to check for while you're calculating. So, what happens here is the good question. I think there's only one way to win. Let me just check. Yeah, there's
So
absolutely okay.
what Jamil says is, in this position, black. What did he play actually in the game?
He played queen takes a4.
He took this
He
pawn,
took the
but
pawn.
if he plays
Yeah.
queen e1 check, king h2, and rook f1, and you see there's no way to stop rook h1 mate, but it's white to move. How does white counter that?
Yeah, that's very important. Because if you don't see the defense, then the game will go bad.
So my thought is to play rook d7. Yeah, everyone's there. Sumedh, Peter Cavanaugh, Arnav, Ayush Krishna, Ilam Parthi, everyone. Yeah, they say rook d7. If I think rook f7 back, there is queen f6. And if rook d7, king
Yeah,
g8, then queen d8, checkmate, but rook can come back to f8, and then queen e7, threatening a mate.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly the line. That's why, yeah, it's very important to see queen to e7. It's also very important to see queen f6 check.
So here, if
And
rook f7, there is this check. You see this
yeah,
rook is pinned, so you can't take and you lose the rook. So he must play king g8 and then check, and then rook f8, and then queen e7, and there's a mate here.
yeah.
Very good, guys.
So he took on a4, which is uh, which is actually the best move, I think. Yeah. And after I played the move e6, here he blundered. So I guess we can ask black to play and defend for the ones
Defense
who.
is always very difficult.
It's very difficult. Also, this move is like very difficult. And the thing is, he has 1 minute on the clock. I have also 1 minute, same situation. I have 55 seconds, in fact. And he has only one move which defends the position. The rest, apparently, everything loses.
Really.
So it's a very tough decision to take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's focus, guys. One move here for black to defend himself. How do you defend? Okay,
Yeah.
the move that comes instantly to my mind is to give a check and put the queen here, but maybe it's wrong. Queen e8 is suggested by Ayush Krishna. Queen e4 by Arnav Vasan. Nilay Kulkarni gives my idea queen a1, queen f6. Even Sumedh wants to play that. Rook f6 by Mehmet. King g8 by Vikas
Rook f6
Sharma.
with d7.
Yeah, rook d7 lost. Queen f4 by Arko Prabha. But I think queen f4, you just rook d7 and then take an e7. Should win? Maybe, I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, queen a1, queen f6 is the popular vote.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, so sadly, that's the intuitive move, and that's actually the losing
That's
move, and that's what he played.
losing. Amazing.
Yeah, that's losing by force, and that's what he played. And he played it pretty quickly and confidently, as far as I understood, at least from the move speed. But it loses by force. So if somebody wants to figure it out, that's
Okay.
the game, and then we can come back to the defense. But the defending move was suggested once, I heard, I think, but I didn't see the. I don't know if it's there.
Yeah, maybe from all the moves, I think queen e4 makes the most sense, right?
Yeah, that's the correct.
Very
move.
difficult
The
to
correct
play.
move, because it's very difficult because you want to give a check on e1 at the right moment, and the queen cannot really leave the square e5. Like the white queen cannot undefend it, because white's one of the ideas of winning the position was go rook d7 check, and try to go queen e7 or queen h6, one of the two. But the problem now is that there is this perpetual.
Yeah.
And that's why it's nothing. I cannot escape. So that's why this is the defending resource. I mean, there's more to it probably, but this is as much as I could understand. So why does queen a1 lose?
Okay.
I guess is the next question. Yeah, he resigned immediately after.
That doesn't work. Ah, nice. You missed that. You
Yeah,
missed.
this trick I encountered before, so I was very familiar with this idea.
Okay. I think you missed the second check actually in the position many times, like many
Yeah,
people.
you missed the second check for sure because the first check is obvious,
Yeah.
and then the pawn push is obvious, but the second check is the problem where you cannot block with your rook because of the pawn.
Peter Kavanaugh says, why does queen a1, king h2, queen e1 lose? Does that? Because it also controls
Okay.
e5. Yeah, that's a good
That's
question.
interesting.
What is it?
Yeah, apparently it is.
This is also okay?
Just to rook d7 and pawn e7.
Rook d7, king g8, pawn e7. Oh, sorry. So what's the
Yeah.
difference between having a queen here and a queen on e1? What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a great question too.
Rook e8.
Let's see. Yeah, rook e8. So what is the difference between having the rook on queen on e4?
Queen d5
that.
check some point. But where?
Yeah, at some point, but I was trying to understand at what point. Because it's still not clear to me. Probably rook d8,
Rook d8.
king f7, queen d5. Queen, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yep.
Therefore, you need the queen. Good question, Peter Kavanaugh.
It's a bit deeper than that, yeah.
I think in
So no
general,
queen.
you see, this is what was my yesterday's point. You ask questions, you don't take them lightly. Like you ask yourself, why would the queen on e4 be much better than on e1? And
Yeah.
then you try to solve it. And even if you spend a lot of time, when you find the answer, your chess understanding improves.
Yeah. It's like decoding something, I mean, because it's like going back and forth between the lines and understanding. Many grandmasters do preparation like this as well. Like at some moment, the engine will suggest a move like a3 out of nowhere. And then you try to understand why is this computer suggesting a3. You try to go deep in other lines. And then it's like, oh, it's covering the b4 square 10 moves later in some random line.
Yes.
That's why it suggests a3 in that position.
Absolutely.
So
it's
yeah.
more like there's this floating thing in chess, and I was explaining this when Yevgeny was here, that strong players, they will always see a series of moves and have holes in between where they can change something or insert some moves. And this is the same thing. Like here, you play this entire line with the queen floating on e4 or e1, and then you see the difference is that when the queen is on e4 or e1, you have this check. While with e4 you don't have, and they instantly play the move queen e4. That's how strong players play chess many times. Okay, so here the point was that in the game queen f6 lost to rook d7. Many people found this very good, guys. Take and check, and this is I think the check he missed, because what he saw was if you play e7, he will go king f7 and everything is under control. But
and he can play for a while.
Yeah, but after check, rook f8 loses to e7. You attack the rook and it's queening. And if you play king g7, then e7, and there is no way to stop e8.
Yeah, here he resigned at this position.
Very nice.
And Turkey won the match, I think, 4-2. And we guaranteed our spot. And next match we won against Norway. Qualified with a guarantee.
Wow, you beat Norway as well. Amazing. Can we just have a look at...
Yeah, we won. Yeah, we won 6 matches and drew 1. We won 8 matches and drew 1. Sorry.
Wow. So guys, This
We
is
scored.
the top pool now, basically. Here, top division. And there are four pools. Which pool for Turkey?
C.
C pool. Okay, A pool is for
Yeah.
India. You can see here India number 6. By the way, we have an Insta story which tells you everything, and also we have a ChessBase India article here which shows you what a tough draw India has here with China, Germany, Iran, Vietnam, Georgia.
Yeah, I think groups A and C are much harder than B and D in turn. I mean, all groups are hard, but the groups A and C are just. Our first 3 rounds is like Russia, Armenia, England, something like this.
So
That's how we start the tournament.
Russia is the top seed.
So
Armenia has Aronian, Sargisian, and a
something
strong
like
team.
this, or it might be England, Russia, Armenia. I mean, you get the idea. It's just 3 in a row like this.
Yeah, England is also very
And
strong. You also have Bulgaria,
absolutely.
which is pretty good. Croatia is not something easy because they are also tough. Team Ivan Saric.
Yeah, they were actually in our group and they were not expected to qualify after day 2, but miracles happen and they did manage. And Serbia went down actually. They were not able to qualify.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
I think Turkey has its task cut out. Let me just see
Yeah.
Turkish team.
Yeah, our task is definitely to get into top 3.
Solak Dragan, Sanal Wahab, Atalik Ekaterina, who's a strong player, Yildiz, Betul, Goker Khan, Cem Khan,
Yeah.
Do I pronounce all C as J? Jaglar Silla?
No, it's actually Chalar.
Shala.
And but they don't have this character in English. It's like CH. But
This
for example,
is
that's John.
this is
That's
Jan.
John, like my Jamil John, same
Jan
John.
Emre,
And
Ali
yeah,
Marandi, Jamil. That's
that's me. Yeah,
here. He's here. Ostuk Kubra, Ozen Deniz,
yeah,
Ozbe. Nice team. Nice
yeah.
team.
Strong team. Yes, we have a lot of fighting spirit. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, Jamil, thanks for sharing this game. It was amazing to learn from you as
Absolutely. Yeah, it
always.
was a more positional game.
Very
So
positional. But we learnt a
yeah,
lot. And I think, as always, thank you for spending time. From 21st, we'll
absolutely.
start the Olympiad. And guys, please make sure that you follow Jamil's channel. I think it's growing now very quickly. Yeah, Jamil, you have close to what, 6,000
Yeah.
followers?
No, it's actually we streamed with Samay, Fall Guys,
Ah.
and I'm checking it live right now. It's 9.98K.
Whoa!
So it's only 20 people away from 10,000.
Let's do it.
And yeah, it was amazing. We streamed the Fall Guys with Samay and Suhani Shah, and we streamed probably about 4 hours, if I'm not wrong, 4 to 5 hours. We had a lot of fun, and it was post Olympiad qualification, so we were happy. I did lose my last game, but I was not really upset because the country qualified, and it's the most important. So yeah, that's what we did.
Okay, so guys, let's make it 10K now by just 20 people, and that would be amazing. Jamil would, I think there would be some kind of a celebration stream as he always does for.
Absolutely, yeah, it's much deserved to do a celebration.
Okay.
But yeah, I cannot say thank you enough for all the support. It's a lot of pleasure to be at the show and explaining chess, doing my best, I should say,
Thank you.
with the games I have.
Thank you, Jamil. And I hope to see you soon again. Take care, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
See
See
you.
you and have a good rest of your
Yes.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was Jamil. It was fantastic with him. There was a lot to learn from him. Positional chess. In fact, as always, I'll save this game because it is something that I myself will use, learn from it. So, Jamil Jan versus Ivanisevic, and the result was 1-0. Okay, guys, I had prepared something today, but because we wanted to learn from Jamil, I will postpone it for tomorrow session. But just to give you, it's 10k. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you so much. 10k for Jamil. He's been working very hard, and him reaching 10,000 is fantastic. So I want to ask all of you a question. How many of you think that? How many of you know how to checkmate with a bishop and knight? Okay, that is a question that I want to ask all of you. And this is something I want you to learn, and we have some more time, so I'm going to delve a little bit into it. It's something which you learn in this entire thing on your own, because if I kind of feed you how to win with a bishop and knight mate, then you will forget it. That's always the case. I should not be feeding it to you. I have to teach you. So let's see how many. Boo Radley says I know. Ilam Pati says I know it. Goblet Fire used to know. Ayush Krishna I know. Piyush Bothra I do. Divya Deshmukh has started a channel. Oh, nice. Guys, so many people know, so many people have learned but forgotten it. Peter Cavano says, I know how to mate but have trouble forcing the king to the side of the board sometimes. It's very tough. Actually, it's not tough. We can learn it. I've done it in the Endgame series, but it's a more advanced way of doing it. Here I would like to do it in a different way to sort of teach you guys. So let's just look at one example, okay? Let's look at this one. By the way, this video is shot by Shahid Ahmed, and Shahid is one of the very important members of ChessBase India team, and he goes to several events and he shoots some amazing videos like this one. Okay, so let's first check this. So here, if you look at it, black has a knight and a bishop, and this happened at one of the tournaments. Black has 28 seconds, but there's a 2-second increment or a 3-second increment. White has 1 minute 21, and he's able, now he has to find a way to checkmate. So you see the king is there. I'm not going to tell you guys how to do it, but let's first learn. Plays knight to c3, knight to b5, king a8. King b6, king b8. And look at the time running down. Time running down. He plays knight a7, king a8. He wanted to stop the king. So white is saying draw. But black says, hey, I have a knight and a bishop. Why should I draw? It's ulta, yeah. The position is ulta. Black is playing. I mean, it's just the king went that way. You see, they are just moving. He's got the king cornered, but he's not able to find the mate. What is the big problem? What is the big problem? I think most of you know very good. And he just took his pieces away from the position to let the white king out. And once the king is back in the center, it takes a lot of time. And there's this 50 move rule in chess, that if 50 moves have passed without any piece being captured or any pawn moves, two things. Any piece being captured or any pawn moves, it's a draw. So here there are no pawns and there is no piece being captured. So I think they've already played close to 30-35 moves already. And here White's task is very simple. He just keeps moving the king, while black is kind of worried what to do, how to checkmate him. And he's already wasted so much time that there's not enough time left now. And in the end, he makes a move. And I think the arbiters say it's a draw, or they just agree to a draw. And has a nice cute smile, but I think within he thinks to himself, if only I had studied the bishop versus knight mate, I would have won this game. And this will happen to you once or twice in your life. You may play the bishop and knight position, but more importantly, what's going to happen is that you are going to learn something about chess much more deeper. How to coordinate two forces, bishop and knight. How do you coordinate them? That is the thing that you learn from here. So basically, many people say, hey, I'm not going to get bishop knight mate in my games, maybe once in say 1,000 games. Why should I study it? I think the approach should be, you study bishop and knight mate to understand how these pieces move, how these pieces together coordinate, how these pieces push the black king into the corner. Now I'm going to give you a task today, and if all those who have time can spend some time on it. We have a playlist, bishop and knight. If the moderators could put it in through the chat, then people can have a look at it. So this is the bishop and knight mate playlist. You just go through these videos and try to learn it. Okay, one of the things which I would tell you why this boy couldn't win was because he didn't know one basic fact about this endgame. The color of your bishop, which is like light squared bishop here, means that the black king can get mated only on this corner or on this corner of the board. It can never get checkmated in the center of the board, nor can it get checkmated on these two corners. This is one very important thing which he was not aware of. And so every time the king was here, he had to push it all the way to this side to checkmate, but he was unable to do so. So I would say try to learn this endgame and try to understand why is it so difficult. Meanwhile, I want to yes, there's also a game of Vidit here which we are going to see. Maybe I would show you how to do it, but once you know it, I think people are saying in 30 seconds Adiban did it, or in 10 seconds Nakamura did it. I think once you know the technique, it's very simple. It's like I telling you, can you checkmate with these two pieces in 10 seconds? You would say, of course, I'll just move my rook. It's a simple, like a staircase thing, and it's a checkmate. The same level of expertise which you have with two rooks is the same level of expertise that Nakamura or say Adiban have with the bishop and knight. Of course, it's a little more complex, but even their brain is much more tuned to how to use the pieces. Okay. Uh, Next is a queen mate. Like I know that bishop and knight is the toughest, but if we are going to look at the queen mate, I hope all of you know how to checkmate with a queen. And many times it's simple, like you would say, yes, I know, but there's a technique here as well. What you should do is you should always put the queen at a distance of a knight to the king, and it's very important. You push the king, you again push it to the distance of a knight. If it goes here, again L shape. When it goes here, again L shape. Oops, sorry. You see, if it goes here, again L shape. You just don't need the king right now, then you go L shape. And I'll tell you one small story from my national championship. I played this and I was hoping, I was black, that my opponent will push his queen like this and this will be a stalemate. But the final thing is, you keep the black king 2 squares for the king, so it keeps on moving, and then you bring your king in. I know this is very basic stuff that I'm showing, but all those who did not know would learn this within a couple of minutes. So please remember that you need to move the queen in L shape always. Tell me how many of you actually didn't know this or knew this, just so that. Once I was teaching this technique to a friend, she moved her queen like a knight. Well, that would mean you can just take the king, yeah. uh, so this is one thing. Let's look at rook mate. I would say again a bit complex here. I haven't really learned how to checkmate with a rook, like no technique. Uh, but I think it's more like you cut the king off through ranks or files. Like if it goes here, you cut him off, so you make his board smaller all the time. This is now the board. If he goes here, now you make it smaller. Oh, didn't know this, didn't know. Many people didn't know. Fantastic. So I taught something new. Very nice. Excellent. I didn't know. So now you know, yeah? All those who don't know. Great. So now when you are with the rook, what you do is you just kind of cut the space of the king. Always shorten the square, shorten the rectangle here. Like now this is the small part. Now he comes here, you can wait. When he goes back, you cut him down. Don't cut him in a way where you check him. Checks are not going to help. So for example, many people here, what they do is they give a check like this, and then the king starts running away. So instead of that, what you can do is, of course here it's mate in 2. Can anyone find the mate in 2? How to mate in 2? It's a box, yeah. Does anyone know how to mate in 2? I would, my way of doing it earlier was like push, push, and then finally, don't do this final thing. You just come here and you checkmate him in the corner. But there's a faster way to do it here. Mate in 2. How do you mate? Yes, rook and knight, of course, is possible to mate. Yeah, just move the rook on this rank here. On this, just move it. Did I say there's mate in 2? Maybe there's not. There's mate in 3 actually. Sorry. Yeah, you go here, here, stop his king from coming here, and then he comes here, you checkmate. This is one way to do it. I would say the most logical way to do with your rook and is to cut him off. Like for example, let's say I get this position, okay, and his king is here. What would be the first move you will play with the rook? Yes, it's 3. I'm sorry, it was not made in 2. What is the first move that you will come to your mind here to mate with a rook? Yeah, we'll come to knight and bishop, Ayushman, don't worry. The first move that should come to your mind here, Aritra DGP says using opposition is the fastest way. Maybe that's true what you are saying. Yeah, the first move is either, see, the king has right now the entire board where it can roam, like, 1 square. So you make his home smaller. You either cut him like this in this square now, or you cut him like this in this square. Both are good. Okay. Now, the way I learnt it and the way I am going to do is, I'm just going to bring my king in to support the rook. So now I know everything is cut till here. Now if he goes here, I will push him with my king back. If he goes here, I will make my sort of box smaller. That is my only concept that I know. Here, I'll make the box further smaller. I don't want to give a check at all. Here, make the box smaller. So once I keep making this box smaller, like here, I can already play rook f7, and this box has become now just 2 squares. You keep pushing him back. Maybe this is a complex way, but I found it the easiest, and I have not learned any other technique until now. So this is rook mate. So now you know the queen mate, you move in knight shapes. Rook, you kind of keep shortening the box with the help of the king. And then we go to, 2 rooks and 2 queens is simple. It's known as the drum roll, or kind of lawn mower kind of a thing. All that you do is cover one rank at a time, and you push him back. So for example, you can do it this way. It's like a lawn mower. When a lawn mower moves, it just covers one file and it mates. So you just go one step at a time and you checkmate him. It's simple. When we come to 2 bishops mate, now this is more complex, and I would say my love story actually began with the 2 bishops. That's how my life is. Chess intertwined with love, with everything, money, fame, everything is with chess. So whenever I want to teach something, you will get to learn something different. So it was, I think, Commonwealth Championship. Let me see if I can find the game. Or maybe I didn't save it at all because I was very angry at losing it. I don't know. Oh, I don't have that game. Oh, really? Really? Come on, Sagar. You should be saving such games. Back then, I was such a stupid guy. The thing was, I was playing this endgame with my to-be brother-in-law, Prathamesh Mokal. I should show you guys who he is. He is Prathamesh, and he is an IM. He's Amruta's brother, and he is an international master. He became international master at the age of 19. He is a very, very strong player. He won the National B Championship in 2007 ahead of Adhiban and many strong players. So a very, very good player. He has won GM Norm as well. And so I was playing him in Delhi in 2007, and he had 2 bishops. So there was some position which was like this. And I could have just resigned the game there, but I was like, let's play on. Let's see what he can do. And then I played on, and Of course, I was duly checkmated in some moves, but it meant that the game went on for so long that everyone left the playing hall because their games were over, and at the end, Prathamesh's sister had to wait for him, who was playing there, and then we three were the only ones left. Prathamesh, his sister, and me, and you know whose sister is Amruta. And so at the end, I got married to her after 7 years. So this end game is very important, guys. Anything can happen. So anyway, coming back to seriousness, the idea is, I think, to just use your bishops to cover the most important squares in this position like this, and then slowly bring your king in, and then now you see all the squares are covered. He is pushed back again, and I think you can further shorten it. I have not even learned this, but I'm just making moves. Now I don't go here because that would mean a stalemate. So I go king e6, king f8, and how do we checkmate him? Let's try to think. Yeah, that defeat turned into a win. 7 years long endgame. Yeah, how do we mate the king here? Let's see some sort of, this is known as schematic thinking. How do you push the king into the corner here and then get him checkmated? Move the black bishop to e5, says Mayur. Okay, Mayur, I'll do that. But then what? How do you make progress? Kind of tricky, yeah, to win this. King f6 and take your king to h6. That's what you say, okay? bg5, bishop c3, king h6, bishop f7. Oh, so many moves, yeah? So many. Bishop e7 is an instant mate, said someone. No, it's not a mate. You go here. It's not a mate. You bring your king to h6. That's what someone says here. Okay, let's try it. So let's go king f5, king here, king here, king h6. Okay, he just kept moving. Now what do we do next? Now, how do we finish him off? Just like the two-rook endgame. But how? See, a little bit of technique is required. You have to remove the black bishop from the long diagonal. So I like this idea. The point is, I want to use the bishop to control this square. So my king I brought to h6 so that it can control the other g7 square. Now you can go bishop e7. Manu Gurtu says, cannot imagine a Sagar who doesn't save a game. Also waiting for position of the day. Part of my morning routine. Yeah, Manu, I just can't believe. At that point, I was so careless. And I had all these positions written down in, all these games written down in score sheets when I was young. Somehow I misplaced all of them. Since then, I've been very careful for saving all my games. Okay, bishop e7, king h8. And now, basically what you do is you get your bishops a little bit further off like this. Just take them away. And then you can wait and then check like this. So you see this square is covered, this square is covered, and then you give a mate. But hey, there's one point which I think I just took a little bit lightly, was I should not, when I play bishop a3, king g8, I shouldn't play bishop back because he would start running from here. So wait, I'll put my bishop here. And then when he goes here, I'll give a check. He goes here, I'll mate. Like this. Basically, you have to change diagonals with the bishop. So if these two bishops are controlling these squares, then you later on get your king and you change the diagonals from here and you mate him this way. Like change it so that there is no stalemate and then you bring it back. So two bishop mate is a slightly more complex thing, but it also is pretty simple. Like you keep covering diagonals, use your king, push him back, again keep covering diagonals, and then bring your here, you can bring your king like this, and then you can bring your bishop back, check, and mate, something like that. Yeah. So let's look at two knights, how that works. It's a beautiful checkmate that I'm showing you. So two knights should win, right? But the problem is usually what will happen in such a position is this will be the position in the game, something like that. Only if black is stupid enough to go to a h8 is then you can mate him with two knights. He will of course go to f7, and that's when you can never ever checkmate a king. You can push him to the corner, like let's say I'm doing here. I can push him back as much as I want, but finally I cannot checkmate him. Like let's say here king b8, I've got him, yeah, like I've got him in the box. Now this knight covers a6, this knight covers c8, so he's in the box. Now I'm trying to checkmate him. Let's see, king here, he can't go here, so he has to go to a8. So let me try and checkmate him. How should I checkmate? Let's take this. Oh, it's a stalemate. Can't stalemate. Okay, let's go back. What should I do? I don't see it. For example, here, king here. What should we do? Stalemate. I don't know. Like let's wait here. He goes here. I want to use my knight to give you a check at the right moment. Okay. So I'm going to play knight a5, king here, king, maybe triangulate a bit around. I'm just making some random stuff. And now I'm going to give you a check. But when you go here, my other knight cannot jump and give it a check. So basically, two knights cannot mate. But remember, if the opponent has a pawn, then it is a mate. Then there can be chances of a mate. For example, in this very position, if black had a pawn, I can stalemate you, and then I can say I'll bring my knight, you push the pawn, and I'll checkmate you. This is Troitsky's example, which again we have another series on this. I'll teach you later. But just to tell you guys, remember this very important concept that two knights, this position, although it's a mate, can never arise. So basically, this is a draw. Two knights can never checkmate a king if it plays properly. But I have played it, I'm such a kind of a sadist that in my last game where I played, I think it was at 9th round. Yeah, this one. No, not Charleroi. It was, yeah, Varakomska Memorial 9th round. What's happening to all my games? No, it was a Karokan. And it was like, I knew this is going to be my last game for the foreseeable future. I hope I have it. But of course, this game should be in the database as well. That's my last sort of tournament game that I've played. Oh, no, it's not there. It was like I got two knights and he had a king and he was looking at me all the time and I was playing the moves. I was enjoying myself and then I stalemated him at the end and he was like, "Why didn't you accept a draw?" And I was like, "This is my last game and last rated game since 2017. I haven't played," and that's how it ended. I'll find the score sheet, but for that one. Okay, guys, I'll take a break now. So we have learned a lot of endgames today. Remember, if you have a queen and a king versus a king, remember the knight concept here. Always move the queen in the knight shape. Push him back always. Push him, push him, push him. Push. And at the end, don't push him the final time. It will be stalemate. Then bring your king over and then checkmate. Okay, rooks, two rooks, one rook already I told you how to keep shortening the box. And then finally, two bishops is like more like just trying to shorten this, move the bishops together, bring your king up, and then you will be able to figure it out. Two knights can never checkmate the opponent's king, and bishop and knight is something we will look at tomorrow in more detail if there is, or we'll look at in one of the sessions, and I'll show you how to checkmate with a bishop and knight. Anything else, any other mates you would like to know? I think that's all. So guys, thank you all for joining in. uh, Aditya Saktiman is a Sagar, please show rook and bishop versus rook and king. Aditya, on my endgame course, this is already covered. Extremely complex endgame. Please look at it there. Let's look at the knight bishop later tomorrow. Similar endgames, Ilam Parthi says. You mean use the feature of similar endgames for two knights. Okay. Like you make this, and then ChessBase has this feature called, if you go to report, say similar endgames, and then it searches all the games where there are two knights against a lone king, and then you can check it out. Yeah. Good one, Ilam. Pawn endgames you want to learn, okay? Two knights and bishop is of course winning, Tarun. There's no doubt. King and pawn endgame, yeah, we'll learn that. Shiva Krishnan says, why is this a draw? 4K38. Okay. Let me check. Let me see if I can get what you are saying here in this. And try to. It's in the database, says Preet Matre. Okay. Yeah, tomorrow we have the 75th episode, which is going to be interesting. I'll make sure that one of them comes tomorrow. So yeah, here you see all draws. Open any game and you can play through it. These are all the draws that have happened with two knights. So many. I want to see if anyone has won. No wins. No one has won. No one has been foolish enough to lose that. Okay. This one, why is it a draw? Is what the question has been asked by who is it? Shiva Krishnan. Why is this a draw? Shiva Krishnan, This is interesting what you have said. The Troitsky's line says that if the pawns are blockaded behind these squares or on these squares, it's a win. So I would say this is winning for white. It's not a draw. Let's see what the engines have to say. This is winning. See, it's winning. It's winning according to me. If you give it some time, the point is that you need to use your one knight and a king to kind of corner this king and then leave this knight and let this pawn push and checkmate him. This should be winning. Imagine that if I go this way and allow the pawn to push, this is not winning. Now this is a draw, because now the Troitsky's line, this pawn has crossed it. So the Troitsky's line is basically this, 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 and this. This is how the Troitsky's line goes. But yeah, I mean, you can play it through. I think this engine doesn't understand right now. I don't have the table bases installed. But the easiest way is to go for Nalimov's table base. 1 second, let me see. Nalimov table bases. Yeah, and I can do input fen, and then I can search, and it shows win in 66 moves. It's a win in 66. So with the best defense, actually it's a draw. Perhaps. Because, but it's winning, but it takes more than 50 moves. That's the rule. So, yeah. This is the table base, guys. Chess is solved till 7 pieces, right? What is this? Nalimov's table base. All 6 men tables are online. 6. But I think 7 is also released. So if you put any position with 7 pieces, it can tell you how many moves it can win in. But if you go to 8, I don't think it can. 9 may take even longer. So they have to reach till 32 to solve the game completely. Yeah. So, okay, guys, thank you. And it was a pleasure talking to all of you. I hope you learned something. We had, first of all, the broom thing, the broom video. Sorry if it was too much for some people. Secondly, we had my game with Belov, which was similar to the broom concept. Third one was Jamil coming and showing his beautiful game against Ivanisevic, from which we learned a lot. And then I showed you some mating patterns with queen, with rook, with 2 bishops, with 2 knights, which you can't do, but you should always play on and have fun. And bishop and knight, which I just showed you one video, and I want to delve into it deeper tomorrow. And that was all, and I think it was a very, very good lesson, and hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Do like the video. As I always say, subscribe to ChessBase India, and all of you, thank you for supporting this with all the super chats and everything that you send and all your questions and attention. Thank you all. Bye bye.